even do this off more than the chessboard.
What's good, family? What's good? I am your gracious host, Dr. Juice, and we are in the building again here at Urban Matters Black Media Group. So, hey, we're going to bring this hot fire to you once again. And we got a real quick lecture from the professor. He has a few questions that he's curious about. And he wants to come up with some answers. And I mean, there's some real legitimate questions too. Professor, we're gonna bring you right in right after this. All right, all right. Do we have you in the building, Professor? I think we got you in the building. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And
Well, how you doing today, Dr. Juice?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. And as y'all can see, we got a question on the title of the broadcast today, and that's Black Men have do black men have election economic power? And did we change the outcome of the 2024 election? And if we're asking a question because since they want to blame it on black men, right? They say, "Oh, black man, it's y'all's fault." Oh Lord Jesus, Jesus Lord. Joe didn't win, and commandment we had to get rid of Joe, and y'all made us get rid of Joe, and we got commandment, y'all. It was all about toxic masculinity. Y'all wasn't ready for a woman. Y'all should have came out and this and that, this and that, this and that. See, that is the problem right there with a lot of our sister queens. Y'all want to be the man, and y'all want the man to be the woman. It's a feminizing gender going on within the Democrat Party, as all of us know. And you are steadily trying to make a male species into a sensitive, passive, docile individual. And that's you got some real black OGs out here, man. You got some real black men out here. And they were raised and they were born and bred it to be men's and leaders of their families. And it's like the whole family structure thing, and they're trying to piggyback and they're trying to shoehorn in this whole ABC agenda and make it dominate the black agenda. Why would we take something that's sexual and replace it with something that identifies the true agenda? I meant to say the true gender and identity of the black man. Let's hear it, Professor. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me, y'all. A little dust in here. Professor,
I'm right
what's
here.
your take on the analysis that I just laid out?
Well,
Why
Dr. you
in
you
black
always
society failing?
you always like for me to speak on history a little bit, so I have to give you some historical context on how do we come to this, okay? And back when Rainbow Obama was running for office, black people had
Rainbow
hope.
Bump.
Yeah, that's Rainbow Obama.
Man, I love it.
And if you want to look at the data, why did 90% of the black vote went to the Democratic Party when Rainbow Obama was running for office? That's because black folks was desperate for something. They were desperate for opportunity. They were desperate for a change. And they were sold the idea. Matter of fact, I think that was the political slogan back then. Change will come. Change gonna come. I think that's what he sold them on. And black people, they broke records, Dr. Juice. 90%. Everything I'm telling you, look it up.
Gotcha.
So here's what changed. When you must remember, Rainbow Obama granddaddy was a white man. And that's why Mitch McConnell kept punking him out. Because Mitch McConnell was able to intimidate him. Okay? So when he got to his second term, black folks said, wait a minute now. We thought you was gonna do something. We thought that, you told us change was coming. You told us that all of these great things happened, and then you turn around and say you can't do nothing.
Wow.
So the reason why Rainbow Obama got his name is because the Rainbow people, they bailed him out in his second term. Now, when I say this, let's, like you said before, I always have to put in a disclaimer. I don't hate Rainbow people. I don't hate people. Okay? I don't. In fact, Rainbow people.
Give our Rainbow people a hand.
Yeah. Give them a hand. Rainbow people, let me tell you about Rainbow people. They my best customers, Dr. Juice, in the firewood business. When a Rainbow customer buy from me, they gonna call their friends, and 2 or 3 more are gonna turn around and buy wood from me. They're my best customers. So I don't want to go on record. Anybody think, oh, Professor, nah, it ain't that. So don't even try to go down that road about me hating Rainbow people. The culture doesn't line up with my values, as church people culture don't line up with my values. Christians don't line up with my values. So let's understand where I had to get that out. Now, having said that, let me give you a little history context. So when the Rainbow people voted him in, they got policies. You always scream about policies, Dr. Juice.
Yes, sir.
They got state bills. They got all kind of. I want to use your word. Because they voted Rainbow Obama in second term, they got all type of tangible benefits. You love that word, Dr. Juice. You love
it.
I've heard
that's my main word. Yep.
Tangible. So let me emphasize your word, Dr. Juice. They got tangible benefits. Okay. I felt a certain kind of way because as a foundational Black American, I felt that, if anybody got any intangibles, we built this country for free.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I felt a certain kind of way. I'll give you a personal experience as a result of this. I don't mind telling nobody. After his second term, I stopped voting. I said, I'm not going to vote for the Democrat. If this is how it's going to go down, then my vote, if you want to talk about sex, I felt the same way about my vote as females felt about their peaches. I said, no finance, exactly. No romance. And I didn't vote. All right? That was my protest. In fact, I never made over $5,000 a month since Rainbow Obama last election. You know why, Dr. Juice?
Why?
Because the Rainbow people took over corporate America. It was their time. They
So you
took
wasn't
control.
you were not a cultural fit.
That's what, you know something, Dr. Juice? I never could understand. I thought it was a black thing. I said, I get it. I'm black. We live in a racist society, and y'all done turn against black people like that. But I later learned that it didn't have nothing to do with black.
Right.
I wasn't rainbow. And let me tell you a term that the discriminatory term that they
It's
came
not
up
that you didn't have any, it was against your color. You didn't have
No,
enough colors.
I didn't have no color. I wasn't rainbow.
Wow. I've heard it all now, Professor.
Listen, I knew that all of these IT departments, especially in Atlanta, had turned rainbow. So you know me, I'm a researcher. I said, well, I'm gonna conduct the test, as I always do. The CDC called me in for an interview, and I knew they was rainbow. So you know what I decided to do, Dr. Juice? I said, I'm gonna wear a pink tie on this interview.
Wow.
And guess what?
What happened?
They offered me $90,000. And I didn't accept it. But it made it real clear to me that the rainbow people, they were in full control. And I had to find another way. And I did.
Wow.
I did. Now, where are we today? If you look at the past political rhetoric and where we are today, and the fact that that has never aligned with my values as a businessman, as a black man, as a father, it just didn't. So now, if we're going to be credited as black men to have disrupt this election, and I don't know where they get the data from because 80%, let's be clear on the data, Dr. Juice, 80% of black men in America voted for Commandment.
Yep.
80%.
80%.
But if you're going to give us credit for disrupting the election, then let me tell you where I'm sitting at right now, Dr. Juice. I want to see how I can, if we got that kind of power, I want to see how I can further disrupt. Because I'm tired of being on that boat. I'm tired of being on that boat. Again, I didn't like Trump when he was doing The Apprentice. Before he even, when black people couldn't do without him. Every time, I think you got a photo of all them black people, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. He financed Jesse Jackson campaign. See, black people got, they got amnesia real bad. Everybody wanted to be at the Trump Towers and party. Okay? So don't act like you didn't used to love Trump. Don't act like you could drink, black people, they could drink Trump bathwater and would give their left arm to be on his Apprentice show. And how black people would, I forget the numbers, but I saw some numbers a long time ago of how many black people sat there and watched The Apprentice, fantasizing that they can be, on his Apprentice show. So don't act like you didn't want to drink Trump bathwater. But I never liked it, personally. And it wasn't emotional for me. But anyway, let me tell you
And
this.
how many of us ever owned a Monopoly game? Trump was the inspiration behind Monopoly. A lot of people don't know that. What was Monopoly about, the game of Monopoly, the board game? It was all about economic, corporate takeover.
Right.
And your ultimate goal was to buy up as much real estate and property that you could. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but all of the squares on the Monopoly game coincide with all of the streets and avenues in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I don't know if anybody knew that, but Trump, that's where Trump really made his claim to fame in Atlantic City, New Jersey. That's where all his major casinos were started at: Trump Taj Mahal, Trump Plaza, etc. Trump Casino, and I don't know if anybody ever heard Trump was on trial, or he was in a hearing with Las Vegas Casino Board of Commissioners, and they wouldn't let Trump come into Vegas. They kind of locked him, boxed him out of Vegas, and he was fighting, and come to find out, the Navajo Nation or one of the Indian nations out there were the main ones that didn't want Trump to get into the casinos. As everybody know, a lot of the fake $5 indigenous tribes of America, who they stole from our identity, they own just about 90% of the casino businesses around the country. And they didn't want Trump to get out to Vegas. And so Trump was on stay on time. Trump don't care, man. Trump gonna spill all the beans. Trump say, I don't know why you guys are making such a big deal. Look, you guys want to claim that you're the native Indians of America. But Trump said, I've seen the natives. I know the natives. And they're dark colored people. And you guys look nothing like Trump basically told them, y'all fake Indians, is what he told them. And in other words, they had no business in control of any of the casino or gaming commissions. And so they were trying to keep him out of something that they didn't even have the right to be in. So I just wanted to point that out, Professor. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. There's always good information. So,
But yeah, Monopoly was a game that was inspired off of Trump.
We don't play none of those games. We play Bid Whist, we play Spades, which of course I enjoy playing.
Right.
But it's not traditionally something that we would do.
I used to love Monopoly.
But
still do. We still play it, me and my family and I.
And everybody need to start. Well, you should have been playing it a long time ago, but you're definitely going to play it now.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing: the policies that now that we know what boat we own, and I don't care what boat we own. I just don't want. I didn't want to be on the Democrat boat. Period. I understand disruption. I like disruption myself. I'm in the cybersecurity business. I like change. I think that we need to change. I'm hearing some of the policies and things that they're trying to do. Think about Dr. Juice, and he don't have nobody that look like you on his cabinet at all. He got people of color, but it ain't your color. This lecture is about how do we prepare ourselves to go forward with what we have in front of us. You're on a new boat, right? And when you look at the changes are being made, and I'm talking to Black folks, what are you doing at this point to prepare yourself to survive the next few years? How, and I've said this during the election, how are you going to make money? I'm teaching in 27 different countries right now, Dr. Juice. I'm teaching AI and robotics. And all of my students are business owners, they're executives, and they're looking to figure out how can they leverage this new technology to help them in their operations become more efficient and more cost effective. That's where we're at now. That's where we're at now. And what is being done to prepare yourself for that.
This is what I want to see them prepare themselves for right here, Professor.
All
I
right.
want to see who prepared for this right here because this is a game changer. This news just came out today, and I heard Putin come out live. Vladimir Putin of Russia said, "Games are over. I'm tired of playing with the U.S. I'm tired of playing with our Ukraine, and now the U.S. Joe Biden has given the authority for Ukraine to go in a full-fledged war and launch long-range missiles. They have supplied Ukraine with long-range missiles that will reach into Moscow, Russia. Putin say it's go time."
Overseas now, we go to the latest on the war in Ukraine and President Biden's long-range U.S. missile. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is on the scene for us there in Ukraine. Good morning to you, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. I think this is an important decision. I mean, Ukraine believes it can stop repeated attacks on its cities if it can fire deeper into Russia. But skeptics are worrying that this is a red line being crossed and what Moscow's response is going to be.
This morning, President Biden authorizing Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russia for the very first time.
It will allow them to hit deep behind Russian lines, to hit supply caches, to hit troop buildup areas.
The weapons have a range of nearly 200 miles. The missiles Ukraine currently has travel only around 70 miles.
We want to make sure that Ukraine is in the best position to protect its interest.
U.S. officials saying a major factor in the shift in policy, the arrival of 10,000 North Korean troops in Russia, many expected to fight alongside the Russians to regain land in the Kursk region. President Zelensky saying the missiles will speak for themselves, without a doubt. This as Russia launched one of its largest attacks against Ukraine this year, unleashing more than 200 drones and missiles across the country Sunday. Videos circulating online showing the exact moment missiles landed in Rivne. The Russian assault targeting energy infrastructure, causing blackouts in several regions and killing at least 7 civilians. And overnight, a devastating Russian missile attack striking an apartment building in Sumy, killing 11 and injuring nearly 90 children among the dead and wounded. Russia deliberately targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure as the winter months set in. In Odessa, where water supplies have been shut off, long lines forming in the bitter cold for emergency supplies, carrying home what they can on foot.
Well, the Kremlin responding just now, saying the US is adding fuel to the fire and escalating tensions. Putin already warning that this would mean the US and others would be directly involved in the war. But it seems likely that these missiles may only be used in the border region just for now. Rebecca?
All right, a monumental decision. Either way, Ian, thank you.
Bruh, they're not playing no game. See, let me say something real quick, Professor. Let me say something real quick before you finish stating so eloquently. If a war breaks out, well, we already in. Do y'all notice that Biden has started like 3 different wars since he's been in office? Now let's just keep it but a buck 100. Let's see how many Trump started. Let me see. 1, 2. How many Trump started was 0. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with Trump. Sometimes crazy is good. So the point I'm trying to make, Biden is a warmonger. He's what you call a neocon. They support war. They start wars. He did the same thing with Israel, gave them an authorization to defend. But that's not defending over there what Israel doing. That's literally a genocide. That's a Holocaust. They doing what Hitler did to them. So that's why I say miss me Israel. Just because you anti-Israel and just because you anti the Israel government does not mean that you're anti-Semitic. But that's how they want to try to correlate this thing. You feel what I'm saying, Professor?
Oh, yeah.
And so Biden, if they could literally implement a full direct war, because if Russia started launching nukes, which they probably are getting ready to do, that will impact us here on the homeland. Y'all know how far nuclear radiation spreads. So, and it'll be all through Europe. So the point is, Russia is not a part of Europe. A lot of people think Russia is a part of Europe. But if Biden and them start a full-blown war, they will not transition into Trump in the Trump administration. You can't transition presidential administrations while you're at war. The war would have to end. So if Biden made the war go 2-3 years, that means him and Kamala gonna sit in office 2-3 more years. Do that make sense? I just had to point that out real quick, Professor.
But
it's a long time. I think you said that, Professor. It's a long time till January 20th.
Yep.
That's a long time.
But here's the important part of all of that. What does that have to do with? I mean, if we're gonna be black first, which we are a black news media, okay, and our issues primarily deal with black empowerment, social, political, educational, economic. That's why we developed this. But here's the point: as all of this take place, you've been forgotten about. You're not even on the table anymore. Think about it. We got a little showtime when they were calling us, as black men, they were calling us low IQ. We were stupid. I had a friend today, go sideways. They still, as you would say, butthurt. But you, with all of these issues on the table, you have been forgotten about. Your issues, the things that's going to concern you going forward, the things that you thought that you were getting when they would say, vote blue no matter who, man, them people don't give a damn about you.
Nope.
So now, what you got now, they got you sleeping with the enemy. They got the enemy sleeping with you in your own house. They got that turmoil. So while you got this turmoil going on in your own house, your own community, these folks been going about their business on something else. They own something else now. They only wanted you for your vote. They only wanted you to break the tie between them. So it's going to be interesting to see how your issues as a people, employment, healthcare, education, is not going to be addressed. It's not going to be addressed. It's going to be a mess. So my question is, how are you going to navigate through that? How are you going to survive? And that's the real question. That's where the conversation needs to be.
Absolutely.
Is that I mean, some of the stuff that even Trump said I agree with. Your education is at the bottom. I hate teaching in America. I've taught in America for 20 years and I hate it. Why? Because our education system is screwed up. I would like to see, and as far as black people are concerned, we're at the bottom. Most of our children can't read. They can't do math. Why are they even going to school? Look at this part. Look at what Elon Musk is going to be doing with technology-wise. Bro, we got AI. We got robotics. We got all this technical stuff, and our children can't even read, bro.
Yep.
So how will they survive in the future, bro? Where are they going to work? How are they going to create economics for themselves? And nobody has ever been able to answer that question for me. The only time I hear them talk about black men right now is in the case of shooting and violence, carjacking. That's all I hear about black men now, Dr. Juice. We just had a mass shooting at Tuskegee. Homecoming. Look at that. I don't know if you're talking, but I can't hear you. I guess he's going to come back. His audio has a challenge, but Spirit's supposed to be the ghetto airline, and they're going bankrupt. I'm sure there's going to be airlines to follow. And that's what times we're living in right now. Spirit going bankrupt. So I ask the question continuously, how are you going to make money? What kind of work are you going to do? You know, everybody black should look at and take a hard look at what they're doing now to make money. What do you think that's going to look like in the future? What kind of skill sets do you have that's relevant to today's economy? Do you even know what your company is planning? And I can tell you right now, all of these businesses are looking for ways to automate. They're looking for ways to leverage AI and robotics to run their operations more efficiently, to reduce their costs. Everybody's doing that. It's just like the story that I tell a lot of time with the old black farmer and his mule and his wagon. And it would take him a whole day to get to town on his mule and wagon to sell his goods. And when they came out with the gas power engine, he didn't want it. That old black man didn't want it, and he said that, look, I got a relationship with my mule. I can talk to my mule. When I tell that mule to go, he go. And when I say, whoa, mule, the mule stop. At the same time, that farmer who had that gas-powered engine in that tractor, he didn't want to deal with that. He said, man, I'm used to talking to my mule. My mule understand me. But guess what was happening? The man with the gas-powered tractor, he was getting to the market twice a day, selling his goods. Old black man with the mule, he finally went out of business. He couldn't compete. And that's where we are with AI today. That's where we are with AI today. And there's so many black people who fear technology. They don't want to embrace it. But I can tell you this much. You're going to be just like that old black farmer who couldn't get his products to town fast enough because his competitor had a gas-powered tractor and he was getting to the market twice a day. We're going to have to embrace this technology if you're going to survive. You're going to have to understand how AI can augment your lives. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. You're going to have to understand how robotics and the implications of robotics and what impact it's going to have on your life. It's going to impact everybody. You're going to have to adopt or die. You know, I'll tell you another story about black folks and technology, about the radio. The radio was invented in 1920, okay? only 60% of the American population could afford a radio. During the 40s, the cost of radio had come down to where black people could entertain buying a radio. Okay. And they went to the old black farmer and they showed him what he would describe as a box with a man talking in it. And once again, that black man looked at that box and he said, I don't trust no man talking in a box. When I talk to a man, I want to look him in his eye. I want to shake his hand. I want to see the expression on his face. Before I do a deal, before I buy a horse from him, I want to talk to a man in a box. But here's what happened. World War II was going on at the same time. And there was pertinent information that the community needed to know that was going across that radio, as he would call a box, a man talking in a box. And even at $5 a month, which was an installment plan for him to buy that $50 box, that $50 radio, that wasn't a priority for him. And during the war, those black people out there in the country wasn't getting the information that they needed because they were afraid of the man talking in the box. We're still at that point, 2004, about to be 2005, where we see technology and the transformation thereof as a threat. We see it as a threat. AI will be making decisions on every aspect of our lives. It's going to make decisions on our health. It's going to make decisions on our education, where we work, what we can buy, how we move around in society. And if you don't embrace it, it's going to embrace you. It's going to embrace you. So I'm excited to see what these changes are going to be because I'm sick of being on the boat that we've been on. I'm just sick of it. What have we gained? What have the Black wealth gap, what has that done in terms of progression? We've gone backwards economically rather than forward. So I'm about whatever disruption, good, bad, ugly, I don't really care. All I care about is being off the boat that we were on in the past. That's what I'm about. So what if it's Trump? I don't care. I know how I was living in the past. I know as a black man how the rainbow people discriminate against me. Rainbow Obama. Definitely don't like him. So it's time for something new. It's time for us to move forward on another boat. And here's the thing about a boat. No matter what sea, no matter what ocean, no matter what body of water that you navigate on, there's going to always be a storm. There'll always be a storm. So, as black men, I'm talking to black men right now, bro. Here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to figure out which way the wind is blowing. Of course, we know we kind of got a good idea of which way the wind is blowing now. And you're going to have to set your sail. You have to set your sail so that wind can push you where you need to go. If you try to go against the wind, that's not going to work out too well for you. It's not going to work out too well at all. Your boat is going to capsize. You're going to get caught in the storm. But what you have to do as a black man is determine which way the wind is blowing. How can you best navigate to where you need to go? Now, what does that mean in terms of real world participation and preparedness and readiness? You got to take a look at your skill set. You got to take a look at your knowledge, your education, and see how you can create value to yourself and monetize that value in a global economy is what you're going to have to do. Because now you're at a point in this society where you have no allies, black man. Think about it. They got you now, you're sleeping with the enemy internally, externally. When you leave the house, you have forces against you. You have forces who are trying to demasculate you. They're saying that you got a low IQ. You're stupid. You're the cause of the failure of Kamame not being elected. So right now, bro, you're a demon, bro. You're a demon. You're a demon. You got your women saying that, they don't want nothing to do with you. And that's okay, because guess what, bro? You live in a global society. You're not restricted to just the United States. You're a global citizen. And there are black people all over the world. In fact, there are more black people in Brazil than in America. There's 192 million black folks in Brazil. You got millions on top of millions of people in Africa and other countries. So when it comes to doing business, you cannot allow yourself to be incarcerated domestically, mentally, or spiritually. It's a big world. So you're going to have to look outside of these borders for success. You have to look outside of these borders for success. I don't think it's going to really happen for you here no time soon, because right now, as I said before, you're sleeping with the enemy at home. I mean, think about it. You can thank Michelle. You can thank Michelle Rainbow Bomber for that, because she told your women to go vote behind your back. And you're supposed to be the head of your household. You're supposed to be the leader in your house. And you got some boule politician telling you, or telling your woman that she don't have to listen to you, bro. These people are an abomination to society, to break the black family up. It's abomination. So you're going to have to take a look at how you're going to move, bro. You need to get your bag together. You need to look at your skill set, what you're capable of doing. You're going to have to educate yourself. See, that's what they don't want you to be, is educated. Why you think that they call you low IQ? So culturally, they're already telling you stupid, bro. They got your women thinking that you're stupid. That's where we're at. So Your conversations, I know you like football, I know you like basketball, I know you like sports. I know you like your nice cars, you're riding on 24s and all of this kind of stuff. And I enjoy watching some of that. But you're going to have to balance that, bro. You're going to have to balance that. You're going to have to think about how you're making other people rich and you're suffering. Here's the key. You're going to have to figure out what is it that you can invest in? What type of asset? And that asset can be your skills. That asset can be your time. Assets don't always come in terms of money. Assets can be a lot of things. But what you're going to have to do, bro, is figure out what type of asset can I invest in that's going to bring me a monetized return. That asset can be knowledge. That asset can be education. And when I talk about education, I don't mean just going to somebody's school. Asset can be knowledge that you gain yourself. And that's the best knowledge. The best knowledge that you could ever acquire as an individual is the knowledge that you acquire yourself. These schools are not teaching anything. They're not teaching your people anything. I think I see D there. What's up, D? I don't know if I can let you in. I think Dr. Juice want me to pontificate while he just hold on a minute. He'll be back while I pontificate here. I don't know. I want to share my screen, but I think he has to give me permission. Type in the chat and let me know that you can hear me, and I'll keep going. Let me know if you can hear me, and I'll keep going, bro. So I see you in the chat there. All right, I'll wait on you. But I was talking about investments, and I was talking about the need for Black men, more especially, to acquire the skill set to investing. I want you to start thinking about investing your time, investing your energy into empowering yourself economically. That's where we're at today, because you don't have no allies, as I've said earlier. They got you sleeping with the enemy. You got enemies waiting on you as soon as you leave your house. And we all we got. You're gonna have to do like our uncles and our granddaddies and our daddies did during Jim Crow. We all we had. Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna have to endure my lecture until he gets his technology together. I appreciate that. I wish I could bring you in, but he's dealing with his technology. But I don't mind lecturing, which I do quite often. And I got a lecture tomorrow, but I'm lecturing to y'all today about empowerment and the need for investments and what investments really mean as Black men. Bro, you got to look at your time. Think about it. They say time is money. Time is money. So what strategies can you develop that will allow you to invest your time into a sustainable asset whereby you can get a monetized return on your investment? That's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about your energy. I want you to think about how you're moving in this society right now, bro. And if these folks are going to give you credit for disrupting this election, which, again, I remind you, 80% of black men voted for Command. So I don't know what they're screaming about. But if they're going to give us credit for disrupting it, I'll take it. And I'll go further by saying, if we got that kind of power, I'm all about coming up with ways so that we can keep this power. And I want to harness it if we got that much power. Because I want to see change. I want to see change. I have a daughter. My daughter was a swimmer at Westlake High School. Westlake! I'm a proud Westlake daddy. And my daughter swam for 4 years, did very well. And I couldn't imagine some old rusty male competing with my daughter. It would be disgusting for me to go in a man's bathroom and see tampons. That's not part of my values. And I don't want to be on that kind of boat. When I look at the data as it relates to black families, right? $60 to 70%, I think is at 70% now, of black children in America grew up in single mother homes. When I look at the biggest threat in the black community today is violence and active shooting. Where the men at? Why don't we have men in the home? Where are the fathers? Why aren't we economically empowered to run a household? Well, Dr. Juice always like to give me a little historical context. So I'll give you a 5-minute lecture on that. So during the Great Society, after we supposedly have gotten our civil rights in 1964, I was 4 years old. And this was when Lyndon B. Johnson was president. And he came up with the Great Society, the welfare program, where they empowered black women by giving them government assistance and money under one condition: that man couldn't be in the house. That was a government policy. Since Dr. Juice liked to talk about government policy, the government policy was the government will give you money, black woman, and we better not catch that man in the house. So what do you think that she got the term, I don't need a man, I'm independent, I'm an independent black woman? Well, the government did that. The government destroyed the black family. It's just as simple as that. And look where we are today with that. So what happened with that, she became the breadwinner. I'll give you another example. So when Jim Crow supposedly ended, when we supposedly have gotten civil rights, I come from a small town in Central Florida, Citrus Town. We fruit pickers. My daddy, along with many other black men, came from the Depression, during the Great Depression. My dad, 1925, during the Great Depression. My daddy came from rural Alabama when there was no cotton to be found. Black man couldn't make no money. And those black men, they set for Florida because they said, Florida, they're growing gold on trees. You go down there and pick oranges and make 3 times as much picking cotton, if there was cotton to pick. My daddy moved to Lake Wales, Florida, November 17th or 18th. Matter of fact, I'm coming up on that anniversary. In fact, it's the day. That's funny. While my daddy moved to Lake Wales, November 18th, 1925, to pick oranges. And we built the family business picking oranges in Central Florida. Did well. Come 1960, after all those years of picking oranges, making other people rich, we couldn't even own an orange grove. All we could do was pick oranges. That's what we were brought there for. So in 1960, 64, when we got our civil rights, the black man went to the master and said, look, I got my civil rights now. I want equal pay. I want equal pay. I deserve equal pay. You know what the white folks told that black man? The hell with you. We're going to get some Mexicans to pick for us. And that's the interesting thing about that, too. So when the Mexicans came in, we couldn't compete with them. And here's why. Imagine, I'm a black man out there. I'm picking oranges for my family. I got a wife and 3 kids. All right. My kids in school. My wife, she working for the folks. This is in the 60s now. When the Mexicans came along, they brought the whole family to pick oranges. The men, they would climb top of the trees, all the men, the boys, all the males. They would climb to the top of the tree, get on the ladders. And they would drop the oranges down to everybody else in the family. The women, the children, all the females. And they would be on the ground picking up oranges. There was no way in hell that I could compete with that picking oranges by myself. Couldn't do it. Now today, they tell me, and I believe it because I've never seen it, no black men pick oranges no more at all. They don't. Put us out of business. And from the town that I'm from, since citrus was the main industry, and that's gone, how the black man gonna make money now? What is he trained to do? Look at the children, the black males. I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think this year, last count I had, there was 9 homicides in my hometown, and we don't even have 20,000 people in my hometown. Matter of fact, my hometown's so small. Section B in Mercedes-Benz Stadium that the Falcons play in is bigger than the population of my hometown. But yet, there were 9 homicides of young black men killed. So I say all that to say that, brothers, we have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. We're living in a time where you don't have any allies. You thought you had allies. You thought that the Democrats were your allies. You voted for them for 16 years. And what did they give you? Nothing. I don't even talk about Republicans because they didn't market towards you. They don't, so there's no need to talk about them. So why did you put so much energy into a culture that don't care about you? And you're about to find out. You probably won't even hear anything about black folks unless you tune in this show, because now there's so many other world events that's going to supersede your issues to these people. They talk about Ukraine and Russia right now. And then when they finish talking about that, they talk about Israel and Lebanon, and all those places. You're not even an equation. The election is over. What do they need you for? What do they need you for? They need you for nothing. They just wanted you to help break the tie. You're useless to these people. You have become obsolete to mainstream society. They got AI and robotics right now. They don't need you. So what are you gonna do, black men? You know, how are you gonna take this power that they told you that you had? You had to empower yourself to move forward in some kind of way. You have to empower yourself. I see D in the chat. So D say you're gonna make money playing video games. Well, yeah, I mean, you can go to the military and be a drone pilot if you can get in the military. You know, but what are we gonna do with our boys, brother? They have created a society where, you know, your boys don't have no guidance. Boys don't have no leadership. None. And I mentor a lot of boys. I think about them Morehouse boys that are all friends with my daughter. They get mad at me when I say this, but it's the truth. Right now today, all the Morehouse men that I know who are friends with my daughter, those dudes are sassy. Very sassy. You know, I don't dislike them. I don't like their sassy ways. But as a man, and being my daughter friends, I'm very cordial, and I try to be a father figure to them because I believe that based on my interaction with them, they're in desperate need of what society has now. The rainbow people have created this term. They call us masculine toxic. That's what I am now. I'm toxic. I'm masculine toxic. And the rainbow people came up with that term to discriminate against people like me. But I think and I believe that there's a lot of value in that because these sassy dudes keep begging my daughter to talk to me. Oh, I want to talk to Pop. I want to talk to Pop. I want to talk to Pop. Tell me something good, Pop. So there's a vacuum in our culture, in our black culture, for male leadership, male guidance. There's nobody teaching these boys how to be a man. There's no program, and it's really sad that black men either have to go to the military or go to jail to get the discipline that they need to function in the society. That's really sad that we've lost so many men in the household, and our women have to carry that burden. You know, I hear, women, they get criticized for taking on masculine ways, and I don't like to see no masculine women. But guess what? They got to survive. They have to survive. They're in a society where it's dog eat dog. I get it. I know so many households that's ran by females. And I don't think all of them want to take on this masculine persona. I don't. I believe that most women want to live a soft life. I believe that a lot of women want to be feminine. I believe that they want to be catered to and cared for, but they can't because you allowed other cultures to come in and destroy your family. You know, you've been convinced that you don't need a man. You've been convinced that, you know, you can raise this boy by yourself. And then he get to the age where he's growing into his so-called manhood, but there's nobody there to give him any guidance. So now he's breaking into cars, he's stealing, he's trapping. By the time he's 25, he done caught 3 felonies. And you know you can't do nothing with no felony, bro. You game over. In fact, if you look at the 13th Amendment in the Constitution, you're a slave. You're a slave. So how do we fix this? How do we move forward? How do we empower ourselves so that we can enjoy the American pie that we deserve? How do we do that? How do we do that? Well, you know, being a professor, I'm big on education. You're going to have to educate yourself so that you can be a part of this digital transformation, so that you don't wind up being like that black farmer who went out of business with his mule and his wagon. You won't be like the black farmer who thought that the radio was something that he couldn't trust. He didn't want to listen to the man in the box. You're going to have to educate yourself. You have to educate yourself. I was looking at some data as I was doing some research earlier today. And I was looking at the conversation that they were having about government efficiency and how this new administration wants to make the government more efficiently, I said that right, and how there's a push for waste reduction and all of those things that go along with government waste. And I was looking at some data here where, and I have it here on my screen, I would share it with you, but Dr. Juice is still working on his technology. Here's what it says. It says that white and black Americans are overrepresented in federal government, while Hispanic Americans are underrepresented. That's what the data says, right? Here in this chart, it says that the white people in the federal government represents 61.2%, while they also represent 59.3% in the population. Now let's take a look at black folks. Black folks represent only 12.6% of the United States population, roughly 13%. And they also represent 18%, 18.2% to be exact, of federal government employees. Now I ask you, and I've been listening to Elon Musk, so I ask you, if Elon Musk is saying that, hey, let's shut down Department of Education, which I do agree with, let's shut it down. It ain't worth nothing. If he's talking about shutting down the Department of Education, if he's talking about reducing government waste, and you represent, as black people, 18.2%, who do you think he's talking about, Willis? Who do you think he's talking about? You're going to be first to go. And the federal government is the biggest employer for black people in the country. There's no other employer bigger than the federal government for black people. And today, there's only 3% of black people that has more than 2 employees in America. Only 3%. So that means 97% of black people work on somebody's plantation. You work for somebody. You work for somebody. And I can only imagine right now, the workplace for black people got to be hostile. For most black people. I believe it's got to be a hostile environment. I believe that after all of this months and months of political circus, you just can't be comfortable at work. I don't believe. In fact, I have friends who work, and every day they're complaining. Every day they're complaining. They're complaining about the passive aggressive behavior toward them. They're talking about how uncomfortable things are for them. And think about it. You spend most of your time at work. You spend at least 8 hours of your day at a place that don't appreciate you. And they only tolerate you because you're working there and you have some sort of plantation value to that organization. So it's not a place where you appreciate it. And then on top of that, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're living paycheck to paycheck. So you're in a hostile environment and you're living paycheck to paycheck. That's no way to live, black folk. And black men, they ain't working nowhere. In fact, there's a 50% unemployment in all major cities of black men. And see, it's just like Brother D just pointed out. I don't know. Let me see if I can see you, D. I know Juice gonna show up, but I'm gonna talk about some of the things that you're posting here. But I want to make sure that makes me wonder if they could see this on the. No, they can't. They can't see that. So Brother D is saying, and you're right. You know, we're gonna have to get more into the STEM field. The science, technology, engineering, mathematics. These worthless degrees, these worthless degrees, and you're coming out with student loan debt on degrees that it ain't even worth the ink that diplomas are written on. You're gonna have to get into the science. You're gonna have to get into technology because that's where we're at globally. That's where we're at globally. Nobody is gonna hire you, especially as a black man with a liberal arts degree, bro. Not in the technology world. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna have to do better about our children. We're going to have to groom our children into businesses. We're going to have to make millionaires out of our children. Those are your offspring, bro. And let me tell you something, bro. If you're out here riding around on 24s and you done put 50 bands into your car looking good and your children can't read, bro, and your child at the school raising all kind of hell, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to learn. For instance, as Dee pointed out, China making flying cars. China making robots. Musk making robots. You don't think that there's going to have to be robotic repair? You don't think that these mechanical devices are going to break down the equipment? Where are you learning how to prepare that? How are you preparing yourself educationally to learn that? There's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot. You cannot be sold on the notion that you're low IQ black man. You can't be sold on the notion that you're low value. Because how are they going to give you credit at the same time for disrupting this election if you're all of that? Somebody got to be learned. So you're going to have to put a lot of time, a lot of effort into empowering yourself. Empowering yourself. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about investments. You're going to have to find something of value. And to me, it's all value. Your time is valuable. Your knowledge is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Your children are valuable. And you're going to have to invest in these things. These are non-traditional things. See, when I was growing up, they said, son, go to school, son, and get yourself a good education so you can get a good job. They were saying that back in 1965, 60 years ago. Well, let me tell you something, brothers. That ain't worth a damn. You're going to have to empower yourself. Because when they say get a job, unless you create that job, where are you going to go? You're going to go to where most of you are right now, at the plantation? You're going to spend all that time educating yourself, going to school, getting a worthless degree that don't mean nothing, it ain't worth the paper it was written on, just to go beg somebody for a job. Make that make sense. And guess what? Today, if you have a job, it's not keeping up with inflation. There are people out there that's making over $100,000 a year, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. Same as the people who are making $50,000 a year. They're living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason why they're living paycheck to paycheck is because that money isn't keeping up with inflation. So you think that inflation is going to go somewhere because now you got a new administration? No, sir. No, sir. It's not. It don't matter what party is in the office. It's basic economics. And right now, economics are saying in the supply chain that the cost of goods are going up. No matter where you have tariffs, no matter where you don't have tariffs, it don't matter. The global economy says that inflation is going to steadily rise. And then you're feeding other people's economy. Y'all think that you voted to get some sort of economic relief. How is that possible? And you holding up two different economies. How is that possible? You holding up two different economies, two wars, and you think that there's going to be food on the table for you? We're entering some very hard times because the so-called leadership in this country, they got other priorities. And let me give you a news flash, folks, especially you brothers. You ain't nobody priority, bro. You're nobody priority. They give zero damn about you. Trying to see what, bro. He said Ray-Ban Meta. Tell me what that is, bro, D. Ray-Ban Meta. So, Meta coming out with, right. So, these talking about, we were talking earlier today about the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. And they said that the iWatch really didn't bring what it was promised to bring, the AI watch. So now they're coming out with the Meta Ray-Ban glasses. And what are the implications behind that? Well, I believe that we're going to be seeing some interesting things with these AI glasses. We're going to be seeing interesting things in general with AI. Some very interesting things. See, with this technology, you're going to have to do a little bit more than pray until something happens. I don't know where they get that concept from. Pray until something happens. But let me tell you something. Why are you doing that? These people are taking large language models and machine learning, and they're empowering themselves economically. This is why I place so much emphasis on data analytics, because we have fallen way behind on creating meaningful data for ourselves for machine learning. The data, the majority of it, in my opinion, is data related to degenerative behavior in the Black culture. That's why you see all this crazy stuff on social media, the algorithms. The algorithms are showing Black culture as dysfunctional, is what it's showing. And let me just share something with you. AI is making decisions on housing, whether you can get a house. It's making decisions on whether you can get a loan. It's making decisions on whether you can get a job. It's making decisions on where you can go to school, if you can go to school. That's why they call it artificial intelligence, because it's artificially making decisions that humans used to make. So if AI is making decisions on data that you haven't contributed to in a positive way, well, what kind of decisions do you think that's going to have as an outcome? What kind of decisions that you think it's going to have on your ability to work, on your ability to get educated, your ability to receive good health care? What impact do you think that's going to be? That's why it's extremely, extremely important that you embrace this technology, that you don't sit around talking about praying that something happens. Somewhere in the Bible talks about prayer without work ain't hitting on nothing. So how could you possibly say something as dumb as that? Where's the critical thinking? Where is the ability to use the greatest gift that was given to you as a human being, and that's your brain? What happened to that? I'm telling you, folks, especially you brothers, you got to get on your game, man. Because the script has been flipped big time. The script has really been flipped. And the only way that I see survival is through education. And you're going to have to educate yourself on this new game. It's a new game. And I'm seeing over and over and over where black folks are playing the old game, not realizing that the old game is obsolete. It's no more relevant than that mule in the wagon that the old black farmer thought he was doing something, talking to his mule, going to the market. Put himself out of business because he wouldn't change. He became too connected to that mule. And the mule died, that part. The mule died. He couldn't sell his products, couldn't get to the store. He couldn't get to town. He didn't trust the gas-powered engine because he couldn't talk to it like his mule. And he went out of business. He went out of business. And that's what I'm seeing in the black culture today in America. Black people are becoming obsolete. You have no value. What value do black people have in the workforce today? What value do you have? I can tell you 150 years ago, your value was picking cotton and you made other people rich. That's the value that you had. You built this country for free. You work for free. You work for free. Now, D brings an interesting point. He brings an interesting point, and I'll talk about that. So according to my partner D, he's saying that body parts of value has value. And as morbid as this is, it is true. Imagine this. We got our boys out here shooting and killing each other like it ain't nobody's business. But family, are you aware of what is being done with unclaimed bodies? Do you know? They're selling the parts. They're selling the parts. Look at the data. Most of our boys who are down in the street, you turn on the news, you ain't got to look far for the data. These boys are between the ages of 16 and 25. It's killing each other. So for the ones that are not making it to jail and dying on the streets, and their bodies are not being claimed, guess what? You're selling them parts, bro. You're selling the hearts of young black boys. They're selling the lungs. They're selling the kidneys. They're selling these body parts that has way, way more value than you can imagine. So if I was in that game, of course I want to see black boys kill each other because I'm selling body parts, bro. And I'm making money. Do you see that? Do you really see that? They're selling body parts. So I stand corrected, D. I stand corrected. We do have value, our body parts, and our blood, to your point. They're buying your blood. See, your blood don't have, the only color that blood is red. So they're letting our boys kill each other, and they're selling your body parts and they're selling your blood. That's the value that you have today. That's your value. Your body parts and your blood is being sold on the open market.